All right. So today's topic we wanted to talk about, Skylar brought this up, but it is actually something I have a lot of opinions on as well. And I think Sydney does too. And that is fan signs, or rather more specifically, the fan calls that have started as, I think they happened before, but like COVID really like made them the only way to do fan signs, and it has been a very interesting experience. Do you want to start with the video that we put in the chat, or do we want to like get to it like naturally?
Let me just say, I just across these videos because obviously I knew about fan signs and fan calls. I just had no idea how funny they could be. I had no idea there was a well of just humor awaiting me. So I came across them and I just laugh at them, and then I, dug a little deeper, and some of them are humorous, some of them are uncomfortable, but I think there's a lot to be said about fan culture and boundaries. So
well, also,
that being said,
yeah, I also just have like opinions about like what people should I don't know. Let's get to the video and then I will discuss. So this is from a Mark fans. When poor Mark seems to get like really interesting.
Okay, Marty Mark. Can I sing for you?
Okay, come on.
Okay. You make me feel special. 세상 아이 무리는 주도 않쳐도 아픔과 아픔만 들이는 줄라도 네가 있어 네 같이 웃어. That's what Mark do. Hey yo, hey yo, listen.
We stopped before we got to the rap, I guess. Oh, what happened in that video? It went away.
why did it just go away?
Okay, so I would just like to say, before we start the conversation, just a disclaimer for people. We are not actively, we are not making fun of these people. We are not commentating on that.
I actually thought that video was sweet.
And the experiences of these idols. That's what I'm commentating on.
I think that singing video is kind of sweet.
What would that be?
Yeah, you can be my...
We'll talk more about that. Thanks for saying that. Facts.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, this is not what that's for. But I just wanted to say that. But, that, I don't know. I just think that I know it's normal because they're normal to fame, but as like a regular person, I just know that people having expectations of me and wanting to do stuff for me and like, I don't know, crying when I like talk to them would be very unsettling.
Well, I mean, sure. I'm sure when you're new, it's like really weird, but that's not really like the opinion. Like when I say I have a lot of opinions on fan signs, it's more about like I actually think that video was like sweet, and then at the end like of her like thing, they like throw her. She got her like friends to throw confetti at her and stuff. She put like a lot of effort into it. She made Mark laugh, which was nice, and it seems like a nice change from the normal stuff. What's a problem to me more is like, first of all, it's like not fair to like get into fan signs. It's like the same 5 people per fandom get into fan signs every time because they buy like 10,000 albums in a group
the
order.
mass buying.
And yeah, so they're like, oh, and then we also like need to bring this up. Have you heard about the new laws about Chinese fandoms? So
Yeah.
okay, well, China has been cracking down on things they feel like are making the youth weak in China. And so one of them has been video games. They've limited kids to only being able to play video games like on the weekends for like a certain amount of hours. And the other thing is idol culture. And so now they're cracking down on the China bar fandoms, which you may or may not know as like the large fandoms from China that have like a huge infrastructure. They mass buy like 10,000 albums, whatever, during a comeback. And it's basically, I didn't realize this. I just thought they were like buying albums to get on the fan sign. But it's really the only way they can get the albums into the country because they're technically illegal. So these fandoms are actually like underground economies for idol culture to get into China. So they're kind of cracking down on that. But I just wanted to mention that. But basically, the China bars are the ones that buy the most albums because they're basically importing them to the whole country of China.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a large population anyways. So they're always the ones who get on the fan signs. So you start to, like, the idols start to, they're like, hey, how are you doing? Nice to see you again. Like, they know them. Like,
yeah.
So I think it's a little, it's unfair, but so not every fan gets to beat their idols, I guess. I have a little bit of a problem with that, but most people don't seem too hurt by it, so I'm not like really upset by it. But the thing that bothers me more is that you get on this fan call and it's supposed to be kind of like, oh, like an interaction with your idol, and then they just like, and a lot of people just end up like demanding things like, do Agyo, like say this, sing that. And it just feels like really dehumanizing to say the least, to be like, do Agyo, like do this, do that. And so the video I was gonna bring, the two videos I was gonna bring up but I couldn't find them, were from Queendom's latest fan sign, and it was kind of like the difference in reaction between, at one point a Yeri fan came on Yeri's fan call and was talking to her and was like, I'm so proud of you for doing Blue Birthday, and I think, Yeri, that you need, I would love to see you be more selfish and take more opportunities, you know, take risks, we'll always be here for you, and just like said all this really sweet, just genuine, heartfelt stuff about, you know, how her art has impacted her and that she just wants to, you know, support Yeri and doing whatever she wants to do. And Yeri obviously got really emotional and started to cry. And then Joy had a similar experience as well. Meanwhile, on this Solgi video, this fan was like, do Agyo! And Solgi's like, you know, like, she looks like she's dead inside. She was like so miserable doing it. And it just was like, you know, and people will say this on Twitter, like, if you're going to the fan signs, please do not make them do Agyo. Please tell them how much we appreciate their art and how much we appreciate their work and that we want to support them. So fans feel this way too about it. And I just feel like if you're gonna put in the effort to finally talk to your idol, like, I don't know, I would just want to say something more heartfelt and more genuine than just, you know. But also some people like info drop on them, like, so they'll like come out of the closet or tell them about like their parental experiences, or they're not your therapist, okay? I mean, yes, like we always joke, why do you need therapy if you've got whatever group? But for real, do not do that. That's so uncomfortable. Like, if someone came up to, if I was on a fan sign, and there's a big difference between your music got me through a tough time and your music got me through my parents' divorce, which happened when my mom, you know, did blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And I would just be like,
yeah, okay. So, like, my opinion on this is that, like, definitely I agree. The details and the specifics, that's kind of strange. But I would say, like, if you have no one to come out to and like maybe BTS's music helped you realize your sexuality or come to terms with it, I don't think it's so bad to like tell them like your music helped me come to terms with who I am.
It would be a good group to do it to, though. I don't know if every group is the one to do it to.
It depends on the artist.
Know your audience. That's also very true. I remember, like, specifically, though, there are good experiences with that. Like, I remember an ARMY specifically came out as trans to June, and he was like, well, what name would you like me to write on when I sign it to you? Like, what name?
So sweet.
And so they gave their, you know, the name they chose for themselves, and he was like, it's a very handsome name, like da, 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 and it was a really good experience for them. So I think that, again, know your audience, and like, also, you know, again, there are limits to that, but it can be a really positive thing.
Yeah, that's true. It can be a positive thing. I've just seen examples where the idol's like, great, and like that was it.
Yeah. Obviously for some people that would make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of gauging. But again, we don't know these people. So it's also like hard. Who's to say they would react badly or
and
who would
it's not
react
even
well.
about them reacting badly per se. It's more just the fact that like what I feel is like it's more like a boundaries issue, right? Like you're, you know, it's like going to a book. I don't know. It's like maybe coming out's a bad example. I think my divorce example was a better example because coming out, there's kind of a case by case basis. You know, has the group said something about that before? Have they been active supporters of that before? Is their fan base known for being particularly gay? You know, maybe that would change things with that situation. But you know, if you've just met somebody for the first time, you know, a certain amount of info dumping can be really uncomfortable. Just because, you know, you haven't, it may not be, it's probably not going to be an equal exchange of information, so you feel weird, you know?
Yeah.
You know, if you just say like, oh, you know, I'm going through a tough time right now and BTS music has really helped me. And then BTS says something really sweet and encouraging about that. That's one thing. But if you're going on for an hour about specifics and details and things,
exactly.
then I feel like
agree.
you've
That's
crossed a boundary of like, I don't know you, but I feel like I know you. And
yeah, I think these fan signs really blur a line because I feel like a lot of the fans go into it, like you said, like, I know them. Like, I know them. And that's not true. Like, it's not. And so it's there's this element of projection that kind of comes out when they're on the actual call, where they like project what they think of this person onto them and therefore know how they will respond or react or like or dislike certain things, when none of that is like real, because this is the first time that you're actually talking to this person who are them. They are themselves. They know themselves the best. And I feel like a lot of fans feel like they know this idol sometimes even more than the idol knows themselves or something. And that's very weird. Like, don't do that weird projection thing. You can appreciate, because I clearly appreciate all of my beautiful idols and have their albums back there. But like, I know there's a distance.
yeah, it's like, I think my issue is more like, I feel like if you're going on a fan sign, it should be, and this could just be, you know, me and the fans I interact with on Twitter. We kind of all feel like you should just be like showing appreciation for their work and, you know, just being like, we support you and blah, 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 and not necessarily demanding something from them because they kind of already give so much of themselves already. I feel like that, like asking them for another thing rather than, you know, kind of being thankful seems like, I don't know.
I could see that. Okay, we should each do what we would do if we were given a fan sign and with whom would we want it. We should talk about that when we finish this conversation. But like, also, yeah, you have to think about what you want to use that time for. It's not very long, isn't it? Like is it 2 minutes? That is kind of long, actually.
Yeah, but sometimes I've seen Joy be like, wait. You know, like, I'm gonna finish.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm sure it just depends on the idol.
And also the day they're having, you know, not everyone's gonna
Yeah, no, like, you're right. I don't know. Also, it's not their job to be happy all the time. That's another thing. And so, like, if they do, obviously it's not okay to be rude, but if they're like, yeah, I'm not, you should probably ask them how they feel, low key.
Yeah, how are you?
When you get on there, like, oh, hey, how are you? But, oh, Skylar, you good?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was just gonna say, I think the concept of like, in my eyes, being forced to talk to people that you don't know, for me, it's just so out of the ordinary. And like, it's even hard to wrap my mind around that. But then I have to think about the fact that this is their job. And, you know, they probably like to connect with people that listen to their art and their music.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I just think that the fans need to understand that, you know, it is their job. And I don't know. I just think I don't really have much to say about it. Now that when I was listening to you guys, I was like, I don't really know what I thought about when like bringing this topic up. Because honestly, this is something that's so I can't even wrap my head around really, and that I kind of just laughed at. So this is interesting to hear a more in-depth conversation on it. I think my experience was just watching like the video and slowly understanding how weird it actually could get. Like,
Yeah.
for example, when I did watch that one video with the girl singing, and no hate to her because she's a really sweet girl, I watched the longer version on her channel, and then I also watched another video where she got to talk to him again, and it was very weird. I understand she's a nice girl, she is very excited, but when you overwhelm somebody with that type of energy and project onto them and kind of in a way, she kind of seemed like she had these fantasies of the way he would react, like Sid was saying. Like she had fantasies like he would act like, and then he, you know, he kind of had to live up to that. It just made me feel really uncomfortable even watching it. So I can't imagine what that's like being the person on the receiving end.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
that was weird.
I think the call part has made it change because when you would go in person, it would be like going to any other album signing you would go to with an artist. And artists do album signings. It's generally more of a private event though, and you like have to pay to like get into it and stuff. But or book signing like with a famous author or you know any kind of meet and greet situation. Those do happen in the West. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to be orientalizing and pretending like this is a thing that only happens in K-pop. It does happen, and there are some like weird, you know, there's crying fans and things like that. That happens here all the time.
Yeah.
I've been to like panels for TV shows. I cried at the Vampire Diaries one when I was like 13. You know, I will admit to it. But I think the element of the call part that's happened during COVID and the fact that people have been so antisocial during COVID, and for a lot of people, I mean, even me, I'll say it, like, K-pop ended up being like a lifeline almost. It was very weird. It was just like a thing to like, I don't know, being into a group just like kind of kept me going during it. So I think there was like a lot of elements that came into play that when you finally got to like call them on FaceTime like you were with all of your friends during that period, it like melted that boundary. It was very and the interactions became different than having that desk in between you that seemed like, okay, it's my turn to talk to them, and a whole series of people who are waiting behind. You know, you felt the artificiality of the situation when you were waiting in line to talk to somebody at a meet and greet. Once there's a phone call, it feels like you're talking to someone you know. It's different.
Okay, that I could definitely see. And that's very, very interesting. Like, I could definitely see those elements affecting it. I don't know. I just think that, one, low-key, when people release these, I know that they're releasing them themselves. It's still, like, people are gonna judge what you do in front of those idols. It's gonna happen. Like, also, people are gonna be jealous. That's also true. But, like, there was a specific instance, I won't say with what group or what fan, because I really don't know the fan at all. But like, if you go to a fan sign and you tell an idol how much work they've done for a certain community, I'll just say it, the Black community, that's weird. Like, you should not do that.
Like, you could say like how it felt for you personally. But you can't speak for everybody.
Exactly. And that always really bothered me because I feel like it became like a thing, especially after Black Lives Matter, because it was a topic that a lot of people were talking about. It felt very weird to see like Black fans go on and say how much I appreciate how much work you've done for like the community. I'm like, what? Like you can say personally, I felt very connected and I appreciated you showing support for this thing that affected me. Like, again, like make it personal because otherwise it comes across very crazy and can also give that
like I'm an ambassador for all Black people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I speak for Wakanda.
Or like make them feel and this is a very specific instance, but like I've seen it happen times and it makes me very uncomfortable, so I just wanted to say so.
No, you're right though.
You're right.
Like, think about the Black community. Think about let's just say Black Americans. Think about the Black Americans that know who this idol is that they're talking to. Like, that is weird to tell them you are really doing it for all of us. Like, you are really like killing.
Especially because of like all of the nuanced experiences that we're the ones experiencing them. And we're the ones who like put our lives on the line sometimes to stand up for these issues and like go to marches and face police brutality and do these things. And I get that you felt a sense of comfort from an idol who supported that movement, but to say the work that they've done
for all of us,
putting in the work.
What work? Like
I know
support is nice, but it
ain't that deep.
Yeah, like even opening up your purse, very nice, appreciated.
But they're not Malcolm X.
Exactly.
Like you're not.
They're not like Gandhi
like
out here leading the movement. Okay,
Yeah.
Like Black Americans are not like, you know, such and such from this group. Like even on Black Twitter, no one's doing that. Like literally, even on Black Twitter, no
even
one
the
is...
ones that we like and that are cool and that have like said things. It's still not like we're like talking to them like they've organized or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like
a show of support, a verbal confirmation of not being racist and supporting Black Lives Matter, or like putting money towards it.
Like
or
that's nice, and you should be like, I appreciated that at a personal level.
Their art,
but
that's all great. I love that. That's amazing because Black people are amazing. So I'm happy that everyone's getting a chance to enjoy that and share that culture and like experience that. But yeah, again, that's weird. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't project a feeling of safety for an entire race and an appreciation for change of a social movement that they maybe mentioned, you know, once or twice in an interview or a live.
Yeah. I know. Exactly. I wouldn't bring that up at all. Now I have to think about what I would say in a fan sign. What would you say in a fan sign? Does anyone want to go first? No.
Well, I think you should say the group and...
Well, we know who I'm going to talk to.
Well, yeah, obviously. We all know. I know both of yours, but I'm just saying, like...
Like, do you... Like, who else?
I'm just saying.
I don't even know.
And, like, I'm curious, if you got one, what would you say?
I think I would just like to tell Sogi that I would get down on one knee and I no, I wouldn't do that. I would try to make it seem as normal and like as much of a fan I do not know you interaction as possible. Be like, you know, thank you. I would just want to say that I really love her voice and I love her music and I love Red Velvet's music. It, you know, Red Velvet got me through a tough time. I really appreciate that. And that I just want to see you keep going and I'll be a fan and a supporter for anything you do. You know, just that kind of thing. I wouldn't want to be like, oh my god, I love you so much. And like, you know, like that would be, it would be too much. I think about this too. Like, and this is also because I am very jaded about celebrity culture because when you grow up in LA, you just are. See, people getting their groceries, and you're like, oh, this is a full-bodied, three-dimensional person.
Yeah, that's a human being.
It's a human being, when you see... I saw Kirsten Dunst, ordering at a restaurant in front of me. I was like, oh my god, it's Kirsten Dunst. But then, I didn't say anything to her. I was just like, because, she wants to get lunch and, like, have her day and, like, exist. But even if I was to say something, it would be like, I'm a really big fan of your work. Because that's what people want to hear when they're an artist anyways, is more, I'm a fan of your work and your whatever you do and your craft, not I'm a fan of you. So I just know from an artist perspective as well, I feel weird calling myself that, but it's true. That's what I went to school for. I paid a lot of money for it. I'm an artist.
Right on.
I would know that and so if I was to tell Sogi, I would just want to make sure I was talking about her work and her art and her, her voice, her dancing, and how excited I am to see her do a solo project, and more focus on the talent that I find so inspiring rather than being like gushing over how hot she is. That would just be weird. It would just be like a one-to-one catcall situation, and I just would feel very uncomfortable doing that. And I'm sure she would feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I going next or you, Skylar?
I'll go next because I think mine will be pretty quick. So for the fan call, I think I would choose Mingy, because he's close to my age. There's very few idols that I feel like I don't even like calling them idols. Like there's very few like idols that I feel like I can like connect to. So it probably have to be someone close to my age who seems into similar things that I'm into. And if I was on a call with him, I think I would just tell him like, I think I would connect with him on a similar age, like going after your dreams type of perspective. Like I would be like, relate to him on the fact that like I'm also, kind of going after what I want. It can be hard because you want to have a lot of freedom. More just like a normal 23 to 23 Korean age for him, or 22-year-old conversation, like the type of conversation I would have with anyone who's my age. And like your early 20s are weird as fuck, and it's like a weird time figuring yourself out. I don't think I would go into detail, but I'm just talking to him like any other person that's my age and like say what's up. And that he like kills it on stage. Honestly, like I can't really imagine talking to these people in a way that's not similar to the way I would talk to another 23-year-old. So probably just that. Compliment him on his stage presence and just kick it. That'd be it.
Yeah. No, that's like really sweet and like normal and cool.
And I feel like they would come away with that experience being like, okay, at least some of the people who like me are like not deranged.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's my age. Like,
yeah. Sometimes I feel like I want to win a fan sign just so they could come away with it with a normal conversation.
These people are our age. Like I don't look up to them. I just think of them as people our age who are doing the hell they want to do and doing a good job at it. Like I don't even idolize them. So
I feel like I
look
up to them, but more in a sense of like they're an artist who went after what they did and they accomplished it and they worked really hard, and I find that admirable and inspiring, but not necessarily in the sense that like they're a god that I worship, Yeah.
Well, that's more what I mean. So
for a fan sign, I would struggle to choose for a fan sign simply because I think everyone knows, or everyone should know, that Jungkook is my bias, and I love him. And like, if I got a fan sign with him, I would probably spend a lot of it just encouraging him to do more of what he's doing and just being himself, because he seems like right now he's really just doing him, like no expectations from other people on his mind. Also, I'm really excited for his solo, and I'd love to hear about his progress on it. Maybe I'd ask him about that. But another person that I think that like I'd really love to talk to on a fan sign, J-Hope.
Yeah.
Like, I would love a fan sign call with J-Hope. I feel like it'd just be fun. I'd be like, I want to be your friend. And then two that might surprise people, but two that I really would love is Taemin. I just think a phone call with Taemin would be so cute. And we would speak in English together, and I would tell him how good he is at it because I'm sick of y'all keying at my mans. And surprisingly, I think this is the most surprising, Sangyeon of the boys, just because I feel like he deserves so much love. And like, I love the boys, but I feel like they do put an emphasis on certain members, and I don't feel like Sangyeon gets a lot of the spotlight, but he does a lot of the tough work as their leader, and he's also so talented. I like his voice, probably is like my favorite of their singers. So I would just want to tell him that and let him know that. Like, I think a fan sign with him hearing about his art and like, I listen to your like songs that you release on SoundCloud and I love them and I think you're so talented and have so much potential. I think that would mean more to him than a lot of other idols. Like, I'm sure there are plenty of amazing ARMYs or BTS fans who can tell them all that stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to do that
Those
for
would be
Yeri too, now that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think, you know, she's had a lot of unnecessary hate in the past, so I'd like to tell her that I'd like to do the same thing and specifically mention her song Dear Diary, which is such a good fucking song, and I'd like to tell her that I think it's like the K-pop equivalent of like In My Life by the Beatles. I really think it's that good. So yeah.
Yeah, no, like things like that are so important. Like I especially feel like for like idols who have made it, they know that they have a sense of like satisfaction that you're there. But I think like smaller groups sometimes really struggle with like feeling like they're doing enough or that they're appreciated or that they could be doing more. And so I feel like a lot of those idols just need to hear like you're enough. Like you doing you and making the things you like to make, that's enough.
Yeah, because there's like a lot of expectations on them, and to just say, even if you're established, there's a lot of expectations on you. So even just to say that, like, you know, we just appreciate what you're doing and keep doing what you're doing, I feel like I would like to hear that. So
yeah,
because I'm always like, I need to make more and put more of myself.
Exactly.
And, you know,
yeah.
I would,
and sometimes it's a lot. Like yesterday, I was like, I finished my project and I was like, I did that. It's amazing. I'm happy. It's my time to be celebrated. And sometimes you need those moments.
Yeah, that's so true. Being an artist is so tough. So, you know, to be able to see people not want something more from you, but that's what I mean. Like, it's because I'm also coming at it from an artist standpoint. Not someone demanding something from me, another thing they want me to do, but to just say like what you've done and what you've put out there, which I know you have to put a lot of yourself into that to put it out there. I appreciate that, and it's really good. You know, just to say it's good is huge to hear. Means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you could really hope for as an artist is for people to like hear you and like, you know, to be heard as a person and as an artist is really special. And then for them to resonate with it and say it's good is really all you could hope for.
Yeah.
So that's a really big deal, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I feel that.